Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Again, guys, we are going just to go through Unit 6, and let me ask you, how's everything goes with you and how's life? I hope that you just like get a self-awareness or just some things about yourself as a result of staying at home, because when you stay at home like for a long period of time, that means maybe that you are close to yourself. Anyway, so let's go today inshallah for a new lesson, and as you see that we here just to go for lesson B and under the title of storytelling. So guess which thing exactly we're going to tackle? Storytelling. So let's see together. Okay, so guys, yes, you're right, exactly. So we're going to go and to speak more about just telling some stories, or how can we tell a story and how can we describe some things or pictures to tell a story. So as you see this picture, this is the man who's hanged, yes, and he just like afraid to falls down, okay, and he just like maybe that he feels afraid for sure. So here the question, imagine you are a writer and give a title to a story describing this photo. So if that's your book, so I need you just to feel that, or just to imagine that you're writing right now and you're thinking about a title to your story, a headline. So what it would be? So think, just take like 1 minute, pause the video and take time to think. Okay, so here we go for more pictures. This one. So here that you have a man, maybe he's wearing formal clothes, that means he's an employee, and he just like sneaking around, or just he's walking around, or he goes in a circle, and this circle is calendar or days, and they are just repeating themselves, and he just like go on the same days, repeating every day daily routines. So what do you think the title for this man also? Try to think. Yup, here we go. This lady, she's just looks somehow sad, and she has here a calendar, March, and many days, like messy books, mobile phone and hand-free or headset, a pen, and here she's writing her just diaries, and she's just maybe drinks tea, and she looks like very quiet. And I think the weather, it's a winter, right? And it's very cold and freezing, and it's raining. So if also you are going to give a title to this picture, what it would be? Think. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, a man who just like torn, or he's not like a complete man. He just like holds, maybe traveling back, but he just like missing something. What do you think? So I need you to think and to give also this story or this photo or this picture a title. So as you know, guys, we are going to talk about the features of the narrative writing. What does it mean, narrative writing? Narrative writing means this is like telling, story writing. You are going to tell a story. So for example, if as I just gave you different pictures, from the picture itself, when you look at it, you can just make a story. You are going to be able just to tell me a story once you look at the girl, once you look at the man, just he holds the traveling bag. So once that you feel that a man who just looking around or just goes in circle with the same days that he lives every day. Here is the question, how exactly can we write in narrative writing, or what we call it descriptive writing? Because when we describe something, then we are going to describe it in a form of a story. So we narrate it. So for example, when you are going to ask me, so can you tell me about the last hangout? So I'm going to describe to you what happened, and the people that I met, and the thing that we did, and everything. So I'm describing because I'm narrating or I'm telling you. But in writing, it's totally different. We have to control the idea that we're writing because it has a system and it has just like, you know, a sequence. So let's go and to talk about it more. So stories usually have the following features. In any story you are going to write it, you have here 5 features as you see. You have the first thing is characters. Characters. What are the characters? Characters, you are the persons that you have. Okay? So you are going to talk about the people. They are just making the actions in this story. This is number 1. Number 2, the settings. What does it mean, settings? Settings, it's not in the mobile phone actually. Settings, it comes from the word or the verb set, which means the place and the time which this thing happened. Like for example, you remember the lady, as we said, that which season that she lives in right now, or she just like is surrounded by. So it was winter, exactly. So here she was, or she is in winter season. So here we go. So the setting tells us when and where the story takes place. So it tells us the time and the place, when and where. Okay, so here as we said, first thing, characters, settings. The plot actually, this is the like overall of this sum up that tells what happens in the story in the order that it happens in. So the plot is divided into 3 parts. First one is the opening, second, middle, and the third is ending. So here in the opening, just to cut the long story short, the opening that you have to start what's happening at first. So maybe I found, for example, a very sad lady. She's sitting in the cafe. So just try to write like messy ideas in her mind. So here I'm just giving you the starting or the opening. The start of the story, the opening should catch the reader's attention and make them want to carry on reading. So here the thing is, in the opening, when you start writing the opening, make sure, please, that it's catchy or just flashy to the audience. What does it mean catchy? Like, for example, make it like very attractive to the audience. When you read the first line, oh my god, I need to continue reading, I need to carry on reading because it's really attractive to me and it matches with my interests. So you know your audience, you know the people they are going to read, and then you are going to write it. So far so good. This is the opening. Should be catchy and attractive, guys, as much and hard as you can. Go for this second thing, middle. This is the middle of the events of the story. So might include a build up to the problem. You are going to tell the reader where the problem is or what is the problem is, and the problem itself, what happened, and how it's resolved, and how the characters or how the people that just like solve it. And this is exactly comes out of your imagination. Okay, ending. So this explains what happens to the characters next and describes what they have learned. So here you are going just to pack up all the experience they have got from the whole story. So let's see, for example, and talk about this man. So this man maybe just at the beginning traveled to country to, for example, to work and to get like money to his family, and at the middle he faced many problems. Talk about them in details, and the ending, maybe he just like felt alone at the end and it was like a really hard experience, and tell us why and so on. You've got it? So again, you have first thing, characters, settings, when and where, and opening, middle, ending under the plot. Okay, so let's move forward. Okay, so that's pretty cool. So here's the question, guys. Have you ever been in an embarrassing situation or just a frightening one? So tell us. So we'll just take like 1 minute to pause the video and try to remember it. Or if you have both, it will be just like nice one, and let us know. So here we go. So guys, here as you see that you have 3 stories, and in the next slide you are going to find the second 3 stories. So we have the total here 6 stories. So as you know that those different stories tackles or tells us different situation, and those people they are just like practicing the storytelling. So here that you have the end, the middle and the endings of these stories, and in the listening part you are going to find the starting and another exercise to apply over them. Just here you have like expecting task in these errors or these gaps. As you see, you are going to fill just like your expectation and the thing that you understood it from the story in order just to try to fill these gaps and to fill the story. And here we go, we have 4, 5, and 6. So here also we have 6 stories, and those stories they are just a storytelling. So everyone just tells this story, and we have an exercise we are going to do it over them. So please follow me. So in these different stories, I need you just to take like 2 minutes to read them. So I need you just like to go back and to pause the video, read them, or if you have, and all of you I think you have the PDF book, please open it right now, read the 6 stories, and you are going to find like here we call it them tenses, adverbs, like some consequences or just order words or just like words to link the story together. Like you have first one, as soon as, up until then, and until, afterwards, when, and before that. We have connecting words in any narrative story or any storytelling just to link the actions together and to and just like to show that sequence of the events. So that's a pretty cool and pretty important to you when you are going to write a story. So please make sure, as we said for the techniques of writing, to make sure of using those tenses, adverbs. So guys, here we go for the 6 stories, the previous ones. So we have here some vocabulary in order just to understand them easily. So we should get the difficult or the most difficult words and to understand them. First one, I have the word kind of. Kind of is a little or not a lot. So kind of something, like for example, like it's related to it somehow. Kind of, it's like somehow or a little or not a lot. And dropped off. What does it mean, dropped off? This is to took something somewhere and left it there. So drop off, you let something and you don't know where is it exactly. Errands, everyday tasks that require leaving the houses. So this is like kind of tasks. Race to home, which means to go quickly, returning home back. And receipt, the P here is silent, receipt. A slip of paper that shows what you paid for something. And panicked, had a feeling of uncontrolled fear, panicked. And stuck tightly inside or between something. So you got stuck, that means you don't have the ability to move. Okay, so here we go. I need you just to follow me in the next. So guys, as you remember the 6 stories that we've discussed, now you have 2 tasks to do them while listening in order to match with these 6 stories. First one is you are going to listen to those to only 2 stories from the starting point, which means from the beginning. And you are going to tell us which stories are they, like which numbers from 1 to 6. Second task is you will listen again, and please I need you just to get the audio back and repeat it over and over till you just answer the questions to choose which suitable endings from story 1 and story B. Okay, so let's move and listen and repeat as much as you can.
Page 48. 2. How did it all end? B. Listen again. Choose the correct ending of each story. 1.
You see, my mother had this ring. It was kind of old. It had been given to her by her mother, my grandmother. It had been in our family for years. Anyway, my mother asked me to take it to the jeweler's to get it repaired. She told me to be very careful with it. Later that day, I dropped the ring off at the jeweler's and ran off to do the rest of my errands. It was a busy day, and I was feeling really stressed. I went back to the jeweler's just before they closed, paid for the ring, and raced home. Everything seemed fine. But when I got home, I was sure I picked up my mother's ring at the jeweler, but then I couldn't find it when I got home. I checked all my pockets, but all I found was the receipt. The ring wasn't there. I looked everywhere. You can imagine how panicked I felt. Up until then.
So guys, here after listening, you are going to find the answers. So make sure that you did your best in the listening task for the two tasks. Okay. And here we go to finish up this session. We have the task. I need you to share your unforgettable moment in the worst situation ever. So try to remember and to recall it and narrate it to us. Okay. So guys, I just ask you please to do it in written task. So you are going to write it down and send us on the WhatsApp group the written story about unforgettable moments in the worst situation ever. So tell us what happened and what was the problem, how exactly did you solve it, and the people, the story, your feelings and everything. So best of luck, and I'm waiting for your tasks, and please hand them on the group as soon as possible in order just to try to review them, and then you are going to give the feedback. So thank you so much for the following, and see you inshallah next week.